Welcome to the Scoop Board Order Sunday edition. We're keeping the streak alive. I got Bank and Nevada. We are wrapping up camp season. We're wrapping up the final weekend of official visits. And it was a Nevada. Some thoughts on this weekend of the other the players we've in town. Jaheem Singletary and some others were somewhat shaky. Has that been cleared up at all?
Yeah, Singletary was really the one that I was watching for this weekend. It was really kind of digging all weekend to see how his Ohio State visit went. He came into the weekend, obviously as one of the highest profile recruits in this class. Ohio State was really looking to lock him down, kind of get him to kind of focus on Ohio State and Ohio State only. And, my contacts at Ohio State, were very, very excited throughout the weekend in terms of how that visit went. And then as the weekend closed out, I got the thumbs up, smiling guy with the sunglasses emoji. So they feel like they've got him locked down in a really good spot. And I think, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of drama. There's always drama with kids from Florida, but I just don't think there's gonna be drama. I think he signs with the class, and that's a real huge keep for Ohio State.
And Bank, your boys, two of my favorite people I've ever met from South Florida Express, they felt pretty confident with Jaheim Singletary, correct?
Yeah, they felt really good about Jaheim. They were not worried at all. They also thought he was, a heck of a player too, which is they don't, they were the ones that told me Tyreek Johnson couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie. They were never high on Sean Wade. So they think all the Miami guys are better than the Jacksonville guys, obviously, but they loved Jaheim Singletary. So, and they, we did that video last Tuesday, I believe, Kirk, and they said then that there was nothing for Ohio State to worry about with Singletary. So, when they say there's nothing to worry about, man, I trust them dudes. They know their stuff. So I was riding with them from last Tuesday on.
What are your thoughts on Dewberry?
Was that for me, Kirk, or for Nevada?
Either you can take it. I mean, actually, Ben, let's stay with you on Dewberry. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, I think they're in a great position to land him if they want him. The thing for me was more, is he an inside guy or is he a tackle? And that's what they have to decide. And I guarantee you, one of the more important things this weekend was putting him up against the wall and measuring that height and measuring the arm length, because that's really where it's at with him. He's a good player. But then I think they really need him to be a tackle. And I think if they feel he's a tackle, then I think they go all in to get Dewberry. And I think he's a guy they can get. And then I think if they felt he was an interior guy coming out of this, then I don't think they would pursue as heavily as if they think he's a tackle. I think a lot of it's going to come down to his official height and the arm length. So we'll see how they proceed with Dewberry, but I never felt he was an A&M lock like everybody seems to think. And I think he's someone that Ohio State can get with an all-out push.
What do you think about it, Nevada?
Yeah, no, I've been a little more bullish on the Ohio State's chances with Dewberry, and actually think coming out of this weekend that they're in the driver's seat with him. But again, I liked Ba a little bit more, and people were kind of down on him, Ali Ba, who wanted to commit to Ohio State and committing to Florida State. I think Dewberry's a much superior player to him. And I think he is a guy that Ohio State wants. I think Ohio State likes what they saw. That they like the kid. Ohio State is his dream school. It's where he wants to play. I think he sees himself as a Midwest type of offensive lineman, and I think there's a real strong possibility he ends up in this class. And Ohio State definitely took a step forward with him this weekend. That'd be a real nice get for the Ohio State offensive line and for Coach Stud.
Yeah, there were some interesting other names. Looking at some of the other names, I think the best player there this weekend, Bank, and you'll probably agree with me on this, is Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. I mean, he's a freak show.
he might be the best player in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to you about him. We don't really have any shot at getting him. I mean, in your opinion.
Well, I know what their success rate is on these official visits. If they can just get the kid to campus, their hit rate, going back to, Urban's first year, the hit rate goes up. Unbelievable. If they just get him on campus for that official visit, and they got that this weekend. So we'll see. I think Texas A&M and Oklahoma make a lot of sense for this kid, but I want to see what the vibe is over the next 24, 48 hours with Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. And if there's any crack there, any window that they can land him, then you fight that thing out to the death. I mean, if you could pair Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy with JTT and Jack Sawyer, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, that kid to me would be the best D tackle that we've seen at Ohio State. And I don't know how far back I'd have to go. I mean, to me, if someone wanted to tell me that, Gabe's the best player in the country, I'm not going to argue with them. So getting him on campus was step number one. And now we got to see if Larry Johnson and Ryan Day can work their magic. And, I'll try to get some info on that over the next day or so. I'll get something.
Nevada, you got any thoughts on him? I was excited, and Bank was excited that he was up here and we got him on campus. But any of your people in the building you talked to, any thoughts on how it went?
Well, I think it's hard for these visits to go bad. I mean, I can only think of a handful of visits in my whole time covering this stuff where I'm like, man, that visit didn't go exactly the way that it was supposed to. So, great visit. He's going to say all the right things coming out, but as Bank said, we'll know a lot more in the next 24, 48 hours about how sincere his interest is. But big time player, and they pulled out all the stops with him. Had a little smaller number of guys on official visit this weekend, so he got a lot of attention, and it's certainly a focused recruit for Ohio State, and Ohio State certainly advanced their chances this weekend for sure.
Yeah, last name I'll bring up because he came up with Banks guys, Ryan Turner.
Yeah,
Banks, should we be worried about Ryan Turner?
Well, my guys were worried about it, and they felt there was going to be a sneak surprise visit to Florida, either already happened or is going to happen, and they thought he was going to try to keep it very quiet. So that is concerning, and they are kind of in my line of thinking that there's no such thing as package deals in recruiting. These guys aren't married to each other. They're not in love with each other. They're friends, So whoever your best friend was in high school, Kirk, he wasn't going to get you to go anywhere but Ohio State. I don't care how much you liked him. So, but in this case, my guys are convinced that Ryan Turner and Kenyatta Jackson will absolutely go into the same school together. So I'm anxious to see if Ohio State could firm up Ryan Turner, and then that increases the chances with Kenyatta Jackson at defensive end. So this is another thing I'm going to be digging into here in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and Dom Smith, I believe, has an interview going up with Kenyatta Jackson. He's real tight with the dad down there in Florida. So great job by Dom. Well, it wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't have a Sunday JTT update. So, fellas,
yeah, but before we do that, Kirk, before we do that though, I think we got a kid that went in this weekend. I think we got McClellan.
You're talking about Chris McClellan? Okay.
I think he's in. I think he's in, and I think from every indication I get from Ohio State, I think they think he's in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see an announcement from him shortly. So that would be one that I would definitely. The flashing light is on, and I think Ohio State thinks he's in, and I would not be surprised to see something pop on that in the next 24, 48 hours.
Hank, how good is Chris McClellan?
He's not Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, but he's really good. And I think, when you had, you had Kristen Miller they thought they were getting Kristen Miller. And then, something happened and USC kind of caught his fancy. And now Georgia's trying to fight back for him. So this is, I think they need 3 tackles in this class. And I definitely think they're getting Caden Curry. I definitely think they're getting Hero Canoe. And then if you lock down Chris McClellan, I mean, that's a great D tackle class. I mean, great too, not just good. I mean, so like I said, the news is positive on McClellan. If you would have asked me On Thursday, I would have said I thought he was about as close to a Florida lock as there can be. And this is why I always stress about the Ohio State hit record on these official visits, how good they are. And that's why I say don't shut the door on Brownlow-Dindy yet. But the McClellan news very, very positive, and they would love to have him.
And like, why? I mean, obviously it's important to get them on campus, get them around, their future teammates and whatever. But why is it so important specifically? I feel it's more important for Ohio State to get kids on campus because a lot of the kids are recruited from Georgia, Florida, Texas, California. So, it's harder to get kids up north. And I think a lot of these kids don't realize how like nice of a city Columbus is. Like they think that it's like Lincoln, Nebraska or something. Like they don't realize that there's, oh my God, there's airports and there's 2 huge malls and there's 10 million girls and there's all these new restaurants and clubs. And
what the Florida guys have told me over the years is their expectations for Ohio State are about a 6 or a 7. They think they're going to Manhattan, Kansas. You know what I mean? And or to Ames, Iowa. So the expectation is low. Then they come here on a 48-hour visit and they see the campus and it's like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. So you got boom right off the bat. The campus just knocks them on their butts. Then they take them downtown and it's like, my gosh, this is like, Chicago or so, this is not like
exactly
Manhattan, Kansas. It's more like Manhattan, New York, so you get the double edge hit with campus plus city, the Blue Jackets, the vibe of the city, and it just blows them away. That they come in with a 7 for an expectation. They leave with an 11 and it gets them. I mean, I've seen it too many times over 20 years, what the on-campus visit can do. And I don't care if it's in mid-January and it's -12. I don't care. Get them on campus. The hit rate for Ohio State is so sick. And that's what I think the reason is.
What about you, Nevada? Any thoughts on why they have such a high rate? I mean, obviously they get better and better as the year goes on with Mark D'Antoni and the crew, but why is it such a high rate for Ohio State? Why is it so important for Ohio State to get these kids on campus?
Well, I think the tradition of Ohio State, it's one thing to talk about the tradition of Ohio State, but this, everything about Ohio State just kind of drips the tradition. Once you kind of get in there and see the facilities and you're part of it and part of the experience. And just to echo what Banks says, I mean, I've heard it so many times. People think Columbus is some cow town. They think it's just like out there in the middle of some desolate wasteland. They can't believe it's a real city. And, disappointment is always a function of expectation. So when your expectations are so low and then you realize it's a vibrant community, especially during the summer, going downtown in Columbus is just awesome. It's just a great experience. And I think these guys are genuinely blown away by that. And first-class facilities, first-class tradition. And that's why I think Ohio State has such a tremendous hit rate on guys that get in for official visits.
Yeah, and I also feel like a lot of the colleges they go to, like in Gainesville, Tallahassee, Ann Arbor, East Lansing, Iowa City, Athens, Georgia, like they are little dinky college towns. And honestly, they're nothing to write home about. Like I've been to Gainesville, I've been to Tallahassee, like, they don't have a major airport. They don't have big time development downtown. In the last 10, 15 years in Columbus, they've completely redone downtown and it's awesome now. It's really nice, great restaurants, great vibe, great nightclubs, like stuff to do. I think the airport's really underrated just because it's a nice, easy airport to get in and out of that you can fly direct home to LA or you can fly direct home to Miami or whatever. And people think that that's not a big deal, but man, some of these kids, if they only got 3 days off, I mean, and you can get home in 3 hours to Miami as opposed to connecting and whatever. I mean, to me, it's important. I always like to point out how nice the airport is, especially kids from the West Coast. Like there's a direct flight from Seattle, I mean, not every, if you go to Ann Arbor, there's not a direct flight. You can fly to Detroit, but, last thing, so McClellan's in the fold. That's got the verbal equal sign. Thoughts on JTT, guys? I've been watching this film for the last day. I'm going to do a breakdown on this film. Really like what they do with him at linebacker at Eastside Catholic, but any day now, you guys think?
Yeah, I do. I think we're going to hear something by, I would think Wednesday at noon would be as far out as I think we'll hear. I won't be surprised, Kirk, if tomorrow morning or tomorrow, with the time difference, maybe noon tomorrow, I think we could hear something. I think it's going to come really soon. He needs to get, all the information's in. He sat and talked to his parents. He needs to get started on his career. He needs to get where he's going to be and get it going here, because he is a little bit behind the 8 ball, but a guy supremely talented like that can get caught up really, really quick. But it's time to get that college career going. I think we'll hear real soon.
What about you, Nevada?
Yeah, I would bet that it'll be in the next 24 hours. That's my prediction. But I think Wednesday at the latest for sure. I think it's time for him to move from recruit to player. And like you said, there's nothing holding him up at this point. And frankly, every day that he holds up at this point is to his detriment. There's no more information he needs to gather, or nothing else he needs to get. He just needs to announce and then get on with it.
Yeah, to me, missing like every day you miss the summer conditioning is tough, because no matter what you're doing at home, at your home gym or training facility, it's not the same as training with Mickey Marotti and the guy going against Jack Sawyer and sprints, and that iron sharpens iron. I'm not going to get into, it's kind of a military analogy, but like, if you're going to be a Navy SEAL, you can't skip buds training. You can't skip like the Hell Week and all that stuff. Like that's, you got to go through that before you can become a SEAL. And I know he's supremely talented. I can't wait to see him, but man, I'm telling you that summer conditioning, it's terrible for a reason, because you have to put yourself through that to be ready to go for the season. I mean, you just have to do those gassers at noon on the heat, on the AstroTurf, field turf. And that's something that, when he decides he's got to show up and be ready to run. So like I'd always tell my linemen, all these lineman recruits, they said, what do I need to do to be ready? It's like, just anytime that you think you've ran enough, go run another half hour, just keep running, man, because you want to show up in shape and ready to rock. So I'm excited. I think him and Jack are going to be the best defensive end pairing I think we've ever seen as freshmen. So it'll be good. Well, the coaches are on vacation officially now. It's a dead period starting at midnight tonight. So I'm sure that those guys are as happy as they've probably been in months, or at least a month. So any parting shots, Bank? I thought we really had a good bunch of work days on the camp circuit as a Scoop staff. I had a blast working with you. Any parting stuff on your thoughts on camp this year? Some of the new stuff we did with coverage, and just some of your takeaways from our 6 days together on the camp scene.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, because this is the first time we've seen Ohio State limit numbers. And I don't know if school in the country does that. Usually you want 500-600 guys there every day. It's such a moneymaker. They used to get 600 there a day and charge $85 a camper. And that's a lot of money, and do them 3 or 4 times. So this year they had 6 or 7 camp days and limited it to 150. For me, for my job, for what we do, I loved it, because we could just laser in, man, on those few guys. It was so much better, the evaluation process, I think, for us. And I think we could deliver more for the fans than we can when there's 600 there. How Friday Night Lights used to be was so easy to cover. And these camps were almost like a Friday Night Lights because of the limited numbers. So you had 150, 200 guys there, really only 5 that we were interested in. And then they split it up with linemen in the morning and skill in the afternoon. So you didn't have to run all over the place like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to cover every single group, every single position group. It's hard to do. And then when you look at, Buckeye Scoop, and we're out there with Tom Orr, Kirk, Mark, Mick, me, we got an army out there. Corey Dennis said it best, Scoop Mafia. And then you look at some of the other companies that are out there with 1 guy or 2 guys. It's hard. I've done it before at Scout, covered a camp by myself. It's difficult, and you're cheating your subscribers, because you cannot cover everybody. You can't do it. I can't be, if I'm with the linebackers, I can't be watching the quarterbacks. But when we've got the scoop mafia, as Corey Dennis called them, we've got guys everywhere. So we're not missing anything. So that's what I loved the most about it, was the feeling that our subscribers really had a complete story of what was going on. Where in the past, I felt like I did the best I could, but you can only be in one place at one time. So credit Scoop Mafia.
Yeah, and I loved covering the camps with you because, you know, we could kind of have a little back and forth, like, you know,
it's kind of like if you're at a movie, you're watching a movie, and
glad you thought it was funny too, or whatever. It's like, did Hero Q really just do that? You're sitting there and you're just like, yeah, he really did just do that. I was like, yeah, that was pretty special. And the good thing, like with you, Nevada, is we had you, Gerd, Gleitman, and Dom Smith in the mothership, and you guys were updating our live camp chat thread that we had, which has never been done in the history of recruiting. And I thought that was special because I was able to upload clips to our Twitter. Gerd was putting them on the chat. You guys were commenting on it. So it was kind of like a fully immersive experience that's really hasn't been done before, I don't think, in recruiting. But, you know, it was a big event because we made it one. And I think our people in the Scoop family really appreciate it. So what were your thoughts on Camp Nevada from the mothership?
Well, I think it's just, you know, it was an exciting time. It was exciting. June was an exciting time. And I'm just excited these next few days because we're on commitment watch on a number of kids. So I think, you know, you're going to see commitments, even though you say we're going into the dead period, it's not going to be dead for Ohio State and commitments. I can tell you that. And then we got Elite 11 right out here in my backyard in Manhattan Beach. So that is extremely exciting to get a chance to see Quinn Ewers do his thing against 10 of the other best quarterbacks in the United States all in one place. So it's going to be a great time, and it's going to be exciting to be part of that coverage and kind of leave the friendly vestiges of the message board and the mothership and go right out there and watch and be in the front lines helping Gibbs cover the camp. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Quinn Ewers throw it. I'm so excited to see that kid in person. And quarterback room is always going to be loaded with Ryan Day as our head coach. So, well, guys, I really appreciate you. I know it's a Sunday night. You know, we got our JTT update in, our daily JTT update, and we have some great stuff on the official visits. We're going to get right back on the Scoop message board. So anybody that's finished up watching this, get on the Scoop because we're going to be on there all night. So appreciate you, fellas. You have a good rest of your Sunday, and I will see you on the boards.